Hello, guys. Good evening. Welcome back to Wondafund, the Experience 2023. Now, today is the last day in a three-part series. Up until this point, we've had Binance Content Marketing Manager, a daily great man who shared his experience with us day one. Yesterday we had Abdullahi Muhammad, a graphic designer and freelancer who shared his extensive experience with us. And for last, should I say we save the best for last? We have a blockchain and Web3 developer with us tonight who is going to be sharing his extensive experience with us. I think being a blockchain developer is one of the highest paid jobs right now anywhere in the world. At least it's top 10 um, highest paid job in the world right now. So we're going to be seeing things from the perspective of someone who is in that field and is accomplished in that field. And he's going to be sharing his experience with us so you can follow that path, that template that he's going to be setting out for us to see how you can step up your game to get to where he is or to attain that level of excellence that he has in his field. So, Mr. Kaswini, good evening, sir. Thank you very much for coming on the program tonight. Really honored for you taking out time from your very busy schedule to be on here with us tonight. Thank you very much, sir. Could
Hello,
you
good
please,
evening,
uh,
everyone.
yeah, good evening. Could you please maybe introduce yourself again to our audience? I really can't do as much justice as you would to it. So please.
Okay, yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Kaswini Ojuku. Um, I'm just a guy that codes. That's that's it. I'm just a guy that I just write codes. Yeah, so that's the
You're,
best introduction I can give.
you're being overly modest. You know, just being a web developer in itself is very difficult, right? I think it's not just anybody that can do that, right? The complexity of writing a code, building a system, building different softwares, modifying and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's just anybody that can do that. But to take it to the level that you have, you've taken it, just going from an ordinary web developer to be someone who writes blockchain, smart contracts, Web3. I think it's something else entirely. And as far, I know you actually do write a lot of different protocols. So I think you've been overly modest, just saying you're just a guy who writes code, right? So
Okay.
first question, yeah, okay.
All right, sorry. Just go ahead with the first
No,
question.
no, no. I really want to hear what you want to say.
Okay, and what developers don't really know how to introduce. What I don't know what to say. Should I start saying, okay, I write this, I write that? I just write codes. That's
Okay,
it.
so you're a
Yeah.
regular geek because I find geeks usually don't know how to talk. They just ramble on when they try to talk. But
Yeah, that works.
okay, let me ask a very basic question. How did you get into web development? What was the trigger? What was the thing that brought you into web development?
Okay, so it's a long story. How long is this call again?
As long as you want it to be.
Awesome, awesome. All right, let's enjoy. All right.
Yeah.
So I started web development, I think, sometime in 2015. Yeah. So during my teaching practice in school around 2013, at the end of the term, a lot of parents came to the school and they were complaining that their wards or their children's results were wrong, that the children's score was supposed to have been higher or something like that. So, and being a teacher then, because I was doing my teaching practice, I was like, what if there was an app that could really do this thing? Like, I didn't know about coding. I didn't know about coding. I was like, what if there was an app or a software that could just help teachers just put in scores like first CA, second CA, then the result,
Yeah.
exam results,
So
and
everything
to
you
automatically compute everything and rank the students. So that was in 2013. But while I was graduating from school, so I graduated 2015. While I was graduating, so I was now thinking like, okay, after school, what next? I studied human kinetics and health education, and prior to the whole web development stuff, I was fixing computers and all of that. So I was like, okay, is this what I want for myself? Like, is it will I now be a gym instructor, or what will I be doing with human kinetics and all of that? So I now sought out to look for other ways, like other things to do. So while that was in my mind, I believe in law of attraction a lot. So the law of attraction, that what you constantly think about, or what you constantly worry about, finds a way to come to you. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it has worked for me on several locations. So I don't know how it happened. I happened to bump into a guy that built a school portal. So he was going to supply scratch card to a school that was using his portal. So the scratch card where students would use it to check in results. And we got talking, and automatically I told him, okay, this is what I want to learn how to build. And that was how, okay, I paid him and I started learning coding. And that was it.
Wow. So from trying to build a school, should I say a results management software, that was the first trigger that pushed you into web development.
Yeah, and I actually built it. I think that was the first software I built, because while learning, that was what was in front of me, like what I want to achieve. So I
And that was
actually
the
built
goal.
it. Yeah, I built the version one. I later built the version two, and in fact, that school portal was what now made me love the whole programming, because after building the version two, I think during my NYC, a company bought the version two, and they paid me
Wow.
some cool money, which I never thought I can have that money like in the
In
shortest
the,
possible time. And now
yeah.
I now became very interested in the whole coding stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So what was the first programming language you learned?
The first programming languages I learned was PHP, but the first language I learned was HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, HTML, CSS, but the first programming language I learned was PHP. HTML and CSS, they are not actually programming languages, so yeah, that's it. But HTML and CSS were the first languages I learned.
This is the first time I'm hearing that CSS is not a programming language. I'm not Sabi book.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So PHP was your first programming language. Is there a particular reason why PHP was first, or that was just what you picked?
I actually didn't pick PHP. So the person I met to teach me that built that school portal was
Mhm.
using PHP. So at that point in time, he was like my teacher and my mentor, and he was the one everything he knew was what I was learning. So
Mm.
he knows HTML, he knows CSS, and he was using PHP for the back end to build his school portal. So that was the part I followed. I didn't go through that route of going to YouTube and start checking which programming language should I learn and all of that. No, my goal was to build something, and that was what I focused on.
Okay. So, and again, our third speaker also talked about having a mentor, but we'll double back to that later. Now, how did you get into blockchain development? Because I know just being a web developer is one thing, being a blockchain developer is a step entirely. So, how did you get into that?
Okay, so how I got into blockchain development. Okay, I've already known about blockchain a long time ago before I actually started writing smart contracts. So I got to know about blockchain around 2017. Yeah, around 2017, during the time of there was this platform where you write articles and you get paid for writing articles. The name of that
Um,
platform is called Steemit.
yes, wait, I was about to say that.
So so I was writing articles on Steam, technical articles, by the way, because when you write technical articles, you get more upvotes and more pay than when you write normal basic articles. So
Yeah.
I was writing technical articles on Steam, and that was my gateway into the blockchain. So along the line, I started reading about the blockchain and all of that. So being a developer, and while I was in Steemit, I joined a lot of Steemit community, and they knew me as a developer. So I keep getting all these requests like, okay, I want to build a decentralized app. Please, can you build this for me? I know fully well that I'm not a blockchain developer. I'm just a normal web dev, but I keep getting requests to build apps and all of that. And I see this what is it called, disappointment in these people when I tell them that I'm not a blockchain developer. So
Yeah.
anytime they reach out to me and I tell them, oh, I'm not a blockchain developer, I'm just a normal web dev, there's this sense of this disappointment that comes with that response. So I was like, man, I think I have to look into this blockchain stuff. And
You step up your game.
yeah, and that was it.
Okay. All right. So, what was the first thing you built? What was the first smart contract site, whatever that you built?
Okay, so blockchain, see, you see this blockchain development, it's it's not like every other area in development that you can just sit, pick it up, and you start flying with it. So before before becoming a smart contract developer, I've read a lot of articles about blockchain, how the Ethereum or Bitcoin blockchain work, consensus mechanisms. I even paid for a course on Block Geeks, took the course, but I still didn't know. There are some courses you pay for, they'll just end up wasting your time, but they'll give
Yeah.
you basic understanding, like they'll give you
Yes.
basic blockchain understanding, but the actual thing you need, like writing the codes, wasn't
Yeah.
there. So I took this blog geek course around 2020, finished the course, but I still can't hit my chest and say, oh, I'm a blockchain developer. I also paid for a course on Eat the Blocks, took the course, but I paid for that course 2021. But while I was taking that course, the tools I was using were the latest tools. But in the course they were using, the course was like 2019. So I got stuck. I reached out to the owner of the course. There was no response, and that was how I left that course. And it was so discouraging because the materials online you paid for, you end up getting stuck. Sometimes you spend a week, 2 weeks in a bug, and you won't see anyone that is gonna help you fix that bug.
Yeah. Put
So
it,
it was really, really discouraging. But I just had to I had to now look for other ways. I joined a cohort with Web3 Bridge, and that was what set it up for me becoming a blockchain developer. So yeah.
I think I think what you just explained buttresses the point about having a mentor, someone you can ask questions, because I think that sets apart just watching videos and actually having someone to, because corrections are actually always going to show up, right? There are always going to be problems where, or situations where you get stuck and then you need someone to put you through. In every business, it's always there. I think that's why the Igbo system of you go and work with someone and I've forgotten what they called it. Then they settle you after a certain period of time that you've learned the business and stuff. That's why it works better. Okay, so started. web development in 2015. You got into blockchain development after you had several jobs that came to you and you had to turn them down. All right. So now, along the line, what would you say were the key issues that defining moments for you in your journey? Because I know growth in this space is actually an endless, continuous process, right? So, what are those key defining moments? Were there moments where you felt like, man, this is just too hard, or this really isn't just for me, and you wanted to quit? And if you did, what kept you going?
Okay. So I think uh so my journey in tech generally has been a crazy journey. So sometimes I feel like if I talk about my tech journey and someone is not inspired, then I don't think there's any other thing that can inspire that person.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm very serious about that. So I think for us to talk about what kept me going and all of that, so I think I will have to talk about how I started tech. So that that
Please,
story will
we want to know it.
will all right. So my tech journey has 2 points. Has 2 points. Tech is a very big field. So if I want to talk about how I got into tech, it has two striking points. So one of the striking points for me is in 2010, and the second striking point was 2015. So 2010, after my secondary education, so normally after secondary school, okay, I finished secondary school 2009. After secondary school, people will start applying for JAM, writing JAM to gain admission. So
Yeah.
I told my parents that I didn't want to write JAM immediately. So I told them that okay, I want to acquire a skill, and the skill I wanted to acquire was how to use a computer, like know how to use a computer and all of that. And there was no money to do that. So what I did was I now applied for a job. I had to work in a laundry service just to raise up some money to pay for that training I was going into. Uh, I worked for 3 months, raised money, paid for the whole trading stuff, and I paid for the apprenticeship program where I will learn how to fix computers. So for all through 2010, I was learning how to repair computers, software, hardware maintenance. If your laptop had an issue, I could fix it, make it work, and all of that. So I learned that so that when I get to school, I'll use that as a means of livelihood while in school. So first of all, that was my first striking point getting into tech. So while in school, I was fixing laptops for students and for okay, my university, my alma mater, the computer lab. I was the one in charge of fixing the computers then. So that was that about that. Then the second turning point was when I wanted to get a laptop. So uh, there was no how I could raise money to get a laptop. So what I was now doing, during the time of Ebola, when all these borders were locked, I was following my uncle to Cameroon to load trailers. I don't know if you know all these trailers now that you load rice and stuffs.
Yes,
So
yes.
that was the work I was doing. So I was loading trailers with Cameroon pepper and rice. Like I can carry rice, load trailer, and all of that. And funny enough, I was doing it so well that the trailer drivers preferred me to load their trailer, because if I load your trailer, you will carry like
No.
900 bags of pepper. But if the Cameroon guys load it, the trailer will carry 700 bags, and they pay 1,000 for each bag. So the drivers make more money when I do the loading.
Yeah.
So I had to do that work for like a month, which I use in raising money. to get my first laptop.
Wow.
So that was how I got my first laptop, and the remaining money and all of that, I used it in getting a phone. That phone was what I sold to raise money I used in paying the guy that taught me programming. So just to keep it short, I don't want to go deep into the story so we don't take much time. But
Please
now
spend our
what
time to hear the story.
so that was how I paid the guy that taught me programming. I had to sell my Samsung phone and all of that. So how I was able to grow in the tech space, first of all, was strategic learning. So if those that are listening, just pay attention to the strategic learning. Now, there were a lot of us that was doing the whole loading stuff, loading of the trailer and making money from it. But while others were making their money and they were flexing with the money, I had a target. My target was to get a laptop because I don't want to continue doing that. They call it agboro work. So I don't want to continue doing that work all my life. So I wanted to do something else. But I still had some guys that we did that stuff together and they are still doing it. So after making that, saving up the money I needed for a laptop, I immediately used it for what I needed it for, and I left that line of hustle to the actual thing I needed. And the second thing that helped me in growing in the whole tech space and the whole programming stuff is I never get comfortable with at like after a milestone being crossed, I might celebrate it for like a week or that, or be happy and bask in the euphoria of achieving that. But I don't get comfortable. So I look for the next way to improve myself. And the best way to improve yourself is to learn those things that are rare, that you can't see so many persons doing them. So I don't know. I think, yeah, with this, I believe I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, it's actually it's very humbling seeing how you started. To be honest, it's really no wonder a lot of tech people tend to say they are self-made, right? Because of the amount of sacrifices and pain that goes into becoming what they are. You see, unlike a lot of other fields, you actually have to provide immense value, create something of worth, um, or even just to be able to create something of worth to be deemed relevant in that space. And honestly, to be honest, it's really humbling. I come out my metaphorical cap for you right now.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. It's I don't know what to say. Yeah.
All right, so I have one more question. What would you tell someone who is trying to get into tech?
Someone who is trying to get into tech. Ah, if you're trying to get into tech, then you're already jonesing now. You're not supposed to be trying. You should already be doing it. Like, why are you trying? So, like, you know, there's something that turns me off very well when I see. I know one of the things that turns me off when someone comes to my DM and tell me, please, I I want to be your mentee. Can you mentor me? Yeah, it turns me off. I'll tell you why. You, you don't need me. You don't need to tell me to be your mentor. Like, you don't need to ask for permission to be my mentee. All I just need is start. When you start, provided you have access to my DM, you already have access to me. So what you just need to do is, I'm having these challenges, I'm having this issue, I'm trying to do this thing, I'm stuck here. Please, can you help me with this? Or please, can you spare? Once I see that I know you're started, I'll now tell you, okay, do something like this, do it like this, do it like this. I've already given you answer. Automatically, you're my mentee, I'm your mentor. But coming to tell me, how do I start? You know, I don't. No, nobody. So I see things differently actually, and that is why a lot of times if I see some person saying, "Oh, the reason why they are not coding is because there's no light, there's no this
Excuses.
one, there's no." Yeah, these are excuses. These are actually excuses because I I don't know, but the way you how bad do you want it? How
Mm.
bad? I know a lot of persons that are my mentors, but I didn't meet them to be my mentors. So there was this interview I had, and I was trying to. They gave me a task to do with smart contract. Then I've not even really known how to write smart contract very well. I just reached out to a guy. I was like, please, I'm trying to build so stuff with Solidity, and I know you're good Solidity. I don't know. Can you help me? Just a little bit of your time. It was like, okay, he's busy now. By 11 p.m., we should jump on a call. 10:58, I've already sent him a message and I started calling him. So I want it badly.
How
You get?
hungry are
So
you?
so I don't. If you're still trying to get into tech, then you're already doing it wrong. Just there are resources online. Just start it somewhere, get confused, and ask questions.
Okay. Now let me rephrase my question to make it more specific. Now, one of the reasons that make people quit when they're trying to learn a skill is the inability to practice delayed gratification.
Okay.
By delayed gratification, I mean a need to want to see results immediately, a need to want to start earning immediately. I think it takes a little while for you to learn a programming language and to be able to efficiently put it or build something out of it. And even no matter how good you get, you're still going to create something with bugs, right? And sometimes
Yeah.
those bugs can be so frustrating that they could potentially shut down the entire system until you fix them, correct?
Yeah.
So, what would you tell someone who isn't patient enough to see the bigger picture or is tired and frustrated for not uh, being able to achieve what they because a lot of people set a time frame that they want to achieve stuff by. Some people will tell you they want to use the next 6 months to learn this skill, perfect this, perfect that, but depending, it could really not work out for them like that. It doesn't matter how brilliant they are, it just might not work out for them, right? So, what would you tell someone like that?
Okay. So
Sure. Yeah.
for the people coming into tech for the first time and they're learning, what I'll tell you is the first 1 year into tech, just forget about making money for the first 1 year. Now you will get frustrated. That one is a promise. So I yes, it's a
What you just said
promise.
reminds me of how I tell people you will lose money trading. You know, it's not optional. Okay.
You
Yeah.
will get frustrated. It's a promise. You will ask people question and they won't answer you. It's a promise because now everybody is one way or the other trying to figure something out in tech. Now, everybody's trying to figure something out. Those that are up there that are more experienced are trying to figure bigger things. Why you're trying to figure your own, to you at that point is a bigger stuff. So the first 1 year learning in tech, you will get frustrated. In fact, up till this moment, I get frustrated. There are some days I wake, I feel like not touching my laptop. Like I feel like not touching my laptop at all because of the fact that I've been brain drained and I've been exhausted and all of that. You get frustrated. But now, what keeps you going is your ultimate why. Why are you learning tech?
Why? The reason beyond all reproach.
Your ultimate why. So I picked up a language recently. So I like using stories to talk to people or to answer questions. I don't like going direct because I believe stories will pass the message more. So I picked up a language recently, and that language, there are little or no resources online for that language. So you can imagine the stress involved in learning a new language where you don't even have articles, resources, or videos that will help you understand the language. So sometimes I spend hours trying to figure something out while learning that language. But if I get stuck, I ask myself, why am I learning this language? Now, this language, from what I've seen in the ecosystem, is going to be like a very sought after programming language, a very sought after technology in the next 2 years, a year or 2 years' time. This language is like Solidity. Solidity is the main language for writing smart contract on all the Ethereum compatible blockchain. This language is like Solidity back then in 2017 when nobody knew about Solidity. But now Solidity is hot. Everybody wants to learn it. But this language, I'm learning it now. Nobody knows about it. The resources are not even there. So the bigger picture I'm looking at is a year from now, when people start rushing to this language, I've already gained mastery and I've already positioned myself.
You're already
with Yes, and with the little videos I made with the things I've learned on this language, I'm getting a lot of views because there are no much resources out there for this language, and there are not a lot of people that are doing these videos. So this is my why. So any day I get stuck, I remember why I'm learning this thing. So I don't need someone to tell me to get back up and continue learning.
So essentially, self-motivation.
Yeah, you need to know how to carry yourself from your slumber up to your feet and continue doing what you're doing.
Would you actually say motivation is necessary for success?
Yeah, you need. I think you need motivation and energy.
I think I don't know from my own personal experience, motivation runs out like really quick, like really quick actually.
So I think it depends on the source of motivation.
Okay, now that makes
It
more
depends.
sense.
It depends on the source of motivation. What is your source? Is your source of motivation like, imagine, let's say I'm seeing one guy doing very well in tech, and I'm busy uh, admiring his lifestyle. It's my source of motivation. I want to live his kind of life. And while I'm learning the tech, all of a sudden the guy lost everything he had, and he's still doing tech. Will the motivation still be there?
Unlikely.
So your source of motivation is what determines if the motivation can last for long and all of that. And also energy. You might be motivated, but you don't have energy to do the work.
True, very true. I've had periods myself where I don't feel any kind of motivation at all to do anything. But I know I have to do this. But I don't feel this joy and ginger, any additional thing wanting to make me stand up for where I am to go and do stuff. So in times like that, I usually just get up and do it because I have to do it, not because I'm motivated or feeling energized or happy about it.
For the fact that you have to do it, that thing that is making you having to do it is your motivation. Yes.
Yeah.
For instance, you feel very weak, like there's no energy, you just feel tired to do something. But I still have to pay bills. I still need to, that bills you have to pay is your motivation at that point in time.
Honestly, man cannot go broke. Oh.
Yeah. So there are some people that don't even get that motivation at all. Even the bills won't even motivate them enough to even go back to it. And that's when that comes in. They'll start going down and down and down and down before you know they don't do it now.
Okay. All right. So now, guys, it's entirely up to you now to ask questions of our speaker. I think I've probed him a lot and he has shared a lot deeply with us, and for that we're very, very grateful. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, he's here now. Please do so can round up the program. So you can either type your questions in the group or you can just unmute yourself and ask your question. All right. So let's go. If you have any question, now is the time to ask. Now is the time to ask. Please.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah,
Gaswing. Can you hear me clearly?
yeah, we can. We
Yeah,
can. Go
yeah,
to.
I
Yeah,
can hear
yeah.
you.
Right before now, I think someone asked about the cost of getting skilled up in blockchain development. Do you have an idea, or do you have a education, what do you call it? Education platform where people can learn and that you can recommend. Let me just put it that way for people. And again, another thing is we know that tech is the new way now, and I noticed that people have been getting skilled up, and but it gets to a point that it seems I don't know whether we should call it racism or anything. People find it difficult to get jobs over in the abroad. But I mean, probably want to leave the country, and I noticed that people do what they call it, use proxy or something like that just to get jobs. What do you propose? What are those things you propose that can assist what they call these young talents to export their skills? Thank you.
Okay, so your first question uh, is it how to go into blockchain development, or if I have, okay, yeah, I get it. So going into blockchain development, first you need to, so blockchain development is generally regarded as Web3, Web3 development. So before you go into Web3 development, you need to first of all have at least basic knowledge of Web2 development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, which are the common basics of Web2. You need to have those in your two belts before going into Web3, else you find a whole lot of things difficult to do. And okay, I don't have a training institute where I teach Web3 development, but I'm working on something. I'm working towards that. Then, if you want to go into Web3, I'm going to recommend um, uh, a platform that trains people on becoming Web3 developers. That's where I actually learned. It's called
Web3.
Web3 Bridge.
Yeah.
Yes, it's called Web3 Bridge. So they run their cohort twice a year, and the cohort lasts for 4 months. That's 16 weeks. So the first cohort starts by January and ends something around January, February, March, April, May. Ends around April, May or so. Then the second cohort starts around July and ends sometime around October. Now the cohort has two phases: the online and on-site. So the on-site, you go to Lagos in their facility, you stay there for 16 weeks. They'll feed you, there'll be internet, they provide you accommodation. All you just need to do is focus and learn. Or you can do on-site where you'll be joining via Google Meet, but that's if you can cope with distractions around you. So that's what the best place I'll recommend you to pick up learning going into Web3 very fast. In the space of 4 months, you'll be a badass. Then your other question about job. So it's cold outside, bro. I have to be very sincere with you. It's really, really cold outside. So, but getting a job, a lot of times, you see, most of us focus a lot. If you focus on building, you you will get a job with Nigerian companies. Yeah, a lot. But if you focus on, there are certain things you need to pay attention to if you want to get jobs, foreign jobs. These are things that most developers are scared of. They call them data structures and algorithm. Now, if you're applying for a job in a foreign company, those guys, most of the time, they don't care about the number of apps you've built or all of that. They will just take you through a test using data structures and algorithm. And once you pass those tests, you see yourself getting those jobs and all of that. So, and those data structures and algorithms, they are not things you remember a lot of times. So before your job interview, it's likely you have to study them again and know a lot about them before your interview. Then another thing again for that will quickly help you get a job in the tech space is building in public. That's something I wasn't doing. So I learned a lot by trial and errors. So I learned from my mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes and all of that. So I've learned from them. And if I'm talking to someone, if I'm guiding someone into the tech space now, they won't make the mistakes I've made. So building in public is one important thing you need to know how to do. For instance, you build an app, you talk about it on Twitter, on LinkedIn. If you understand a concept that was like difficult for you to wrap your head around, and maybe there were minimal or less articles online for those concepts, you write about it, write an article about it, post it on your LinkedIn and your Twitter. When people see these things, it's people are watching, people are seeing you. You might not see a lot of reactions on your tweet or your LinkedIn post, but people are actually seeing you. So one of these days, someone might just need something that's related to what you've posted, and they'll just hit your DM, and before you know, voila, you have a job. So yeah, I think I've said a lot about that already.
You don't drop masterclass, my boss. Thank you very much. All right,
All
guys. So
right,
does
boss.
anyone else have a question? Anyone else with a question? Okay, so in the absence of any further questions, let me really extend my very, very heartfelt thank you to Mr. Kaswini. You've really, really shared with us tonight. And anyone here who is interested in being a web developer, blockchain developer, and isn't it hasn't been inspired or motivated by what you shared with us tonight, probably really isn't interested in being a web developer for real. So thank you very much, and it's really been our honor having you on tonight. And you taking time out of a very busy schedule to be on with us. I really, really say a very big thank you. Thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank
So
you.
guys,
Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful.
yeah. So guys, this is Wonderful the Experience 2023. It's been a very long year. We're going to be having, God willing, we're going to be here for Wonderfun's fifth anniversary next year. Hopefully, we're going to be having a physical event next year for the Experience 2024 to celebrate our fifth anniversary. So I hope to see most of you guys there. Thank you very much for attending the program. I hope you got a ton out of this program. All the videos are going to be on YouTube, so go subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can revisit these videos to get to see from the experience of our experts who have shared. All right. So thank you very much, guys. Have a great night.
All right. Bye, everyone. Uh, have a wonderful time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you.